Okay, seeing the time being 6:04, I'd like to call the Osterville Village Association April 7th meeting to order. First on the agenda, Secretary's report. Any questions on that? Seeing none, could I get a motion to approve? Second? Second. All those in favor? Aye. Secretary's report is approved. Treasurer's report, Al.
Okay, I'll tell you all about our little executive committee meeting that we just came out of beforehand, but as of right now, in our three accounts, our main checking account. And this being Cape Cod in April, doing a business, you always know that April is the biggest time of the year when you're scrounging for money. And so we're at the low point now of the balance in the checking, $796.21. A Robert Smith fund, and this also includes the Jim Crocker fund, which shame on me, I wrote down at the meeting last week I was gonna separate the two. But as right now, the Robert Smith fund, $19,359, about 7,900 of that is for the Jim Crocker fund. So it's the 11.5 for the Robert Smith fund, which is used for gifts. Gifts and events in town here. And our third account it's a money market fund that we have at Vanguard. $3,065.23. And even though interest rates have been coming down, we get about $9-10 a month dividends in interest dividends. So it is better than nothing. So between the three accounts, it's about $24,000. And what we're talking about in the before the meeting here was about just working on some better budgeting, so we'll have a better idea of what the expenses are going to be. As you might remember, a couple months ago, we decided that because of the inflation out there and the expenses have really risen a lot, that we really had to increase the dues. And so that since the dues letters are going out to the members later next month, it'll be a while before it comes in, but it's just we have to do a better job just monitoring what we're going to do with the plans because of this inflation. Because in the first decade or so that I was doing this, there was not a lot of inflation, and you can go year after year, no problem. But now it's an issue. So as of right now, I'm not sending any bills or anything like that. So, any questions?
Thank you, Al.
Yeah, thank you all. Great report. I make a motion, we'll accept the treasurer's report. Second. All those in favor? Aye. The report is approved. Cindy, OVPA.
Okay, I'd like to start. We started the permitting process for Village Day about a month ago, so we'll see how all that goes through, but it is working its way through all the different departments of the town. We're looking for parade participation. This year's theme is red, white, and blue. We have a lot of early enthusiasm around the parade, and it seems like it'll be extraordinary as we will be honoring COM in their 100th anniversary. We've sent out our new and renewing memberships to OVA members. We went up by $25 on membership, and I have a copy of the letter and the invoice that we sent out if anybody would like to see it. And we're starting to get memberships in. We're probably about halfway there. We did a little earlier, so we're working on the brochure also, which will be the red, white, and blue theme. The calendar on the website has been updated and the events have been added, and also the OVA meetings have been added to it, so people can see when everything is. If you notice, the pansies have been planted in the garbage cans, for a better term. So receptacle, that's it. So they look really pretty, and hopefully the weather will finally catch on. Some of the businesses are doing a spring shopping event during regular business hours on April 19th. And our next steering committee meeting, we meet the third Thursday of the month at the library. And that is it. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Any questions for Cindy? Great job again on the website. That was We've had a lot of
Yeah.
positive experience on that. We're up into the 2026 now, so that's excellent.
We know, has the old website been taken down? OVA now.
No, it's still, up. I just brought it up, yeah, it's still up.
That's in the process of being taken down. Okay, moving on, town council's report, John.
Okay, we're getting into the budget season now, which means all kinds of appropriations and that kind of thing, so it's long and tedious, but
But you love it.
I love it, yeah. Sitting through there, so it's gotta be done, yeah. But the good thing is, this past meeting, we finally pretty much buttoned up the new zoning in Hyannis, which is a change of the zoning that had been put in 3 years ago that gave us large buildings, skyscrapers on the name. So we now have lowered the mandatory or highest heights to in the downtown Main Street will be 45 feet. And downtown neighborhood or downtown village, which is right next to that, there's 3 different sections, will be 40 feet. And the new zoning and regulatory committee from the council will be deciding on the downtown neighborhood village heights. So we hope that's around 35 feet. So what we want to do is tier Main Street, and the next street's back, and the next street's back. So basically that's what's happening. And I think it's a huge improvement, and and those heights are now determined not by the up to the gutter line at the top. There, the entire building from the peak to the average grade. So that means nothing higher than that. Just good.
How many stories does 45 feet include? Three full?
I think it'd be 3 full, and also
Yeah, plus the basement. Is that plus the basement?
I don't know if it's plus the basement or not.
From the plate, measure from plate, right?
From, no, it's from not the basement, it's from the average grade of the street. The grade level of the streets up to the top of the particular building. So that'll make things, I think, we saw some, Bob Silty had put together some digital representations, and I think he put it next to I think 45-foot buildings, one that's, 59, which is the little deck building over there across from Cascade. And that's the highest one we'll have. So I think it's good. I think we've, tied down into keeping it reasonable. And I think people will be happy with that. Those are the main things we've had recently. I'll take any questions.
John, on the old CCB&T building, which is gonna be housing, was that approved before the new heights, or do you know what that?
I do not,
Yeah.
before or after.
So anything that's been approved will, obviously this won't apply to.
Yes, just after they really put it on regulations.
And is this in effect now, or is it gonna be voted on as far as?
It's in effect now,
Okay, great.
except for the one area that's the downtown neighborhood,
This
which will
last-
be decided at a lower height by the town council subgroup.
Okay.
Subcommittee.
John, a related question, the Osterville playground, what's the update on that?
The 19th of this month is the date for drop dead getting your bids in. So
Drop dead.
for getting your bids in, for
Ah.
construction companies to put their bids in for the project. After that, I think it would start pretty quick. So that's what they're proposed. And I talked to Mark Marinaccio, that the architect, and he said that's where it is, so hopefully we'll be starting at the end of the month. Or very soon after. Now, the one thing I heard rumor that is up in the air is the funding that was voted for the extra funding for the basketball court and bathroom. I think the town manager is looking at costs and expenditures very closely now. Considering we're gonna run into a brick wall in a couple of years, so hopefully that will be returned, or it hasn't been removed. I'll have to ask and find out. That's my first. They usually don't tell you this, they usually find out.
It must feel good to you after all these years.
Yeah, it does, and I'm still nervous that it will start, so, but I'll be on the phone with them and make sure that that's what's gonna happen. So it'll be good to see during the summertime, people see things happening, and, we'll get some kind of rendering out front, and it's be good to see what's going on.
Right.
So it'll be good. Oh, yeah, 17 years. 20 years.
17 anyway.
17 years, yeah.
Yeah, unbelievable.
You know, on the Hyannis zoning, I'll say, I talked to a lot of people in Hyannis about that and other things, and they've just been waiting an awfully long time. You know, for that parking to be adjusted and all that, and it was so nice to see a united council on that vote. You know, sort of really gathering around what the councilors in Hyannis want for themselves.
I think with the election, we've had a lot more of a professional council come in. And things have calmed down as for personalities and that kind of stuff, which is good to see. So anyway, we've made some compromises with the planning board and these heights and on parking spots, so I think we'll stick it. Get to be the law of the land. Seems like we spent a lot of time on Hyannis in the last few years, but it was such a bungled job that we had to do.
No, the new zoning, that's you.
Time well spent, I would say.
Yeah, great job, Joe. Any other questions for John? Okay, old business, anyone want to discuss anything? Maybe I'll bring up on that. We found out a few months ago regarding the speed bumps. And John, John, I think you would maybe talk to Elf of DPW, has it been rescheduled for next year, or is it?
They talked about the fall, and they also talked about next year's CIP, including the sidewalk down East Bay. So bumps, I'm not understanding why it's taking so long for them to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So I'll have to recheck on that. Hopefully they'll put it into the CIP, the sidewalks, but they didn't make the last one.
But the speed limits have been approved as far as, like,
As far as I know, they've been approved and we'll see, so I'll have to talk to people involved here.
great. Okay,
So I just wanted to let you know that we did get out the scholarship applications for 2026.
great.
I just want to say that Nancy Hanson and Cindy were no help whatsoever. I just wanted to make sure that, I'm kidding, of course. We've got it out. So,
Pull your punches there, Joe.
No, they were very helpful. So if you know two things, if you know a high school senior, the lady over here that does know a high school senior from Osterville, or anyone whose parent is a member of the OVPA, and you spread the word, ask them to apply. We actually have an application. There was some innovative, I guess somebody had an initiative. They took an old application from 2018 and they found it somewhere and sent it to me. So I have one in already, which I of course rejected in some wrong form. Not kidding. But anyway, so we have one in anyway, and I will need a committee. This being April, so if anybody, I will need a committee to review the applications and so, okay, great. So
What is the deadline, Chuck, for?
well, we set the deadline for May 2.
Yeah, so this,
So you should be able to, we hope they're gonna be able to beat that. I was more than a little late this year, but fortunately my staff was.
How, if at all, are the scholarships publicized?
Was that,
How are they publicized, the availability?
well, we've got them, I think, on the website, they're on the website. And we send them to every school we can think of in the area to,
So the guidance office,
the guidance officers over there, and, so again, if you know of anyone that you think is eligible for it, let them know about it.
and is there an amount or is that?
1,500.
1,500 or just one 1,500 grant? Okay.
We have, there were two occasions recently in which we actually awarded 3,000, the two, total of 3,000,
Yeah.
with the two individuals. So, because they both wanted it. So it's, all right, so I'll note down, I've got two, and then you were on last year, right? You want to stand, Nancy?
Sure, if you'd like me to.
Sure, yeah, and Cindy, yeah,
I'll be back on, Chuck. I had to step down because I had a college.
that's right. Okay.
Happy to reach you.
Okay, all right, fine. So, all right, very good, so I'll move that down. I think, Suzanne was on it last year as well. I'll ask her if she wants to. She actually created a nice paradigm for us to grade the applications that are raised. So when I have them after May 2, what I do is I email them, okay, or I actually put it on a cloud. I don't know if I password protected it last year, but it'll be on cloud access. You can access the application. Okay. Read them in advance.
You'll let me know how to.
Yeah, I'll email you, and it's pretty, just click on the link, I'll probably password protected.
Okay.
And then,
Be a good idea.
so then I'll send out by a separate email the password, you can get into it, and then we have one meeting, and then, we try to discuss. Okay.
Gotcha.
Mr. Chairman. One more thing I didn't need to bring up. As always, we have, openings in all the boards and committees throughout town. And, so if anybody knows anybody who would like to be on one of those committees, please put your name in. We've got, a group of people that, part of the old group who want to come back. And if nobody from, a wide ranging backgrounds will put forward, then those are people who are going to get on this committee. So we need to get the word around that any committee somebody might be interested to serve on. Some are a lot of fun, some are boring, but they're needed, and so put the word around that. Look and see if they'd like to see what's open and where they can apply.
John, is that on the town website?
Yes, yeah.
Thanks,
Thank
Chuck. Chuck, quick question. How long have you been on the scholarship?
Since I graduated from Barnstable High School.
I do.
No, I don't know, I'm gonna say, has to be 15 years, 10, 15 years, maybe.
Well, that's great. Thank you for.
Yeah, long time.
Thanks for doing.
See it dwindling? Last kids, every year,
Sorry?
do you see it dwindling?
Yeah, it's up and down, it's up and down. Last year we had, I don't know, we had 5 or 6 applicants, which was an increase, and some years we've had as few as 2. I think one year we may have had, I don't think we ever had just 1, but we've had a couple of years, I think one year we had 2. And then, so it varies. Yeah, and so even though I think the school age population is dwindling, it's down a lot. Yeah, so, but nonetheless, last year was sort of a banner year.
Thanks, Chuck. New business. I know earlier, we discussed, having people sign up for the membership to go from a regular mailing to email. And that it's gonna be in the process. And I know how you use the chip there. Could you maybe just how you like that or how that works?
I like the chimp.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's easy. I think we should use it more. Even to put out word of like this meeting, to increase attendance and awareness and so forth. I think you need to be careful about sort of overdoing it. The emails that have gone out historically from OVA have a really high open rate, like a crazy high open rate.
Which is great.
So you want to keep that, right? So you want maybe like a regular cadence that people expect and so forth. And maybe, think about what that schedule should be. And so forth. I think it's nice to track, it's easy to use. The downside of that is just people who are accustomed to getting the paper stuff and are a little bit less online. Yeah. Cindy, what do you think?
I haven't used MailChimp, but I'm thinking about switching over, but we should have the one account between the two of us
Yeah,
and keeping, a more unified one voice of everything going on. Like we do a newsletter here every 2 weeks. And we have like a 63% open rate, which is pretty good.
that's pretty good. Yeah.
So, even if it's once a month,
Yeah.
You're saying like the consistency, obviously, is key.
I think there should be, I mean, there's a couple different schools of thought. One is only put out something when you actually have something to say. So don't just put something out because it's time to put something out, so every time people open it, it's got something valuable to them.
Yeah.
You probably always have something valuable and happening. I don't, we would have to maybe talk about what's sort of the right cadence and substance for this one.
Yeah, but can we also do that thing like for as I was going over in the meeting before about how expensive the printing and the postage is
Yeah.
become. And I think that there's a certain amount of people out there would much rather just do it on the computer rather than writing a check out and putting it
And
in
put
the
it,
mail, whatever.
I agree with that too.
Is there a way that you can incorporate that into the?
Into the chimp thing?
Chimp thing.
I don't know, but I would imagine because chimp is often used by businesses and marketing and all that. So I would imagine.
Yeah,
that's
this is our biggest expense.
Yeah.
It's printed.
And then the upside of the MailChimp, John might not know this, but a number of years ago, he let me put his credit card into it, so he paid.
Ah, nice.
And that's been a recurring charge.
He knows now.
We were wondering about
So
that.
it's free.
Didn't show up.
Kind of free. You mean it's free for everyone but John?
So, but even, I'm sure it's not that expensive because you haven't noticed. But it is true, you've been paying for that for years, so.
Cool.
But it's much less expensive for the organization. And it would be a savings for the recipients in terms of the mail costs and stuff.
Now, you said you have a certain cadence that you mail out. Can you have that curtain and
Yeah.
do a special
Sure.
if something, and
Yeah.
very important meetings coming up and you want a higher attendance rate?
Definitely. Quite candidly, I think historically, going back a number of years when there was more hostile things coming out of the town council toward citizens, we used it more frequently to sort of generate
Right.
awareness and if people wanted to speak up, to tell them when and where and that kind of thing. I don't think there's been that need in the past couple of years, so I think we've used it far less. So it could be a different use than just sort of, generating interest in a thing that is coming out at people. And more about the good things that are also going on.
Does OVA maintain email list?
Yes,
And how many names are on it? Does anyone know?
you don't know off the top.
Like
It's
500?
pretty significant. It's pretty good.
Yeah, yeah.
In fact,
150 emails.
yeah, pretty good.
That's a good base.
Pretty good. Yeah. The other issue with is that you can't add anyone unless you've been asked by that person or sort of expressly authorized to add their name. It would count as like spam and that kind of thing if you don't, and the system might, kick you out if you get too many reports of that. But you could say, put something on the bulletin board or put something in your newsletter to alert people and, stuff like that. I think we should use it more than we do. And maybe we could get a group to just sort of kick around what's the right cadence, what's the right content, not every single time, but just to kind of sort of make a little bit of a plan. And maybe we could, agree whether it's
Does anyone know when we last used?
Last time we were mad, but I don't remember that.
So the
Can we
last
really-
OVA
Yeah,
email went out 24 months ago, 36 months ago.
it's probably been a while. I think maybe, it's been a while. It's been a while.
I've done my newsletters more frequently.
Yeah,
Don't have an exact date, but when something comes up.
Yeah.
We'll put something out there.
Yeah.
So, it's good, it's village, town.
Yeah,
and we shouldn't just use it when we're mad, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And by comparison, Cindy, your Saturday, your weekend email from the library, how many names are on that list?
4,000.
Oh,
4,000.
Wow.
that's great.
And that
Maybe
comes
we-
out
maybe we
Saturday
could-
morning?
Yeah.
or Sunday
Or
morning?
less.
Yeah, it's every other week, Saturday morning.
Saturday.
8:30.
Yeah.
Lots of long number, pretty straight from.
So if the OVA can attach onto that. That much more.
I don't
Yeah.
think we can though.
Well, it's
The
a
library
different-
email
It's a
is a
different demographic. I mean, you know, you
yeah,
get,
different audience.
I mean, I mean, if it was only something that, but the library is a different audience, but we can definitely, because I do put all the meetings and all that on our email blast, that we could easily put something, you know, sign up for OVA specific information here.
Yeah,
so-
like a link.
Yeah, if you could do that on your list, if that's cool,
I can do whatever, yeah.
sure. And by the way, every email that goes out, the executive director has a video presentation, so Peter, get a haircut.
Try to before I came.
There are better days of the week to send out emails too. There's
Yeah.
Open
Yes.
weekends, for example.
Yeah.
You know, common sense would be that we send out one, you know, Saturday or Sunday before an OPA meeting. right?
Yeah,
Hey, this is what we're gonna talk about,
Yeah.
the agenda,
Right.
whatever. Is anyone here opposed to us going exclusively email? I mean, it's the modern age, right?
are we saying exclusively?
Yeah, well, I think
Yes.
we're leaning toward that in terms of membership,
Okay.
because Al shared a lot of really scary numbers about how much we're spending on postage and.
Give us a high level view, what have we spent on snail mail over the last?
Since, okay, it's not really snail mail, in the past year, about 2,400 in postage. But it's $6,400 in printing.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
That's 25% of what we got in the bank right now.
Yeah, but my view on about, rather than going, because it's my job as a financial advisor, quite a few of my clients are older, and I've quite a few seniors there, there are certain people, they just don't want anything to do with it, and it's age related, so usually maybe 75 plus, they might not want to do it. But I found out that anybody like under 50, they don't even know how to write checks.
Yeah.
No, they don't know how to put anything in the mail, you know, so.
And we can accommodate those. It's not that, you know, people who just want mail, you can figure that out.
Yeah. Figure it out.
Call Chesbro or
But-
something.
Let's make it.
We would need names. Yeah, I mean, if we dwindled that mailing list down to,
Yeah.
you know, 50 people, it's still a huge savings.
But better use.
But yeah,
Put money for you.
let's use that money for other things.
6,000.
And it's probably something that we should have done, what, maybe 10 years ago?
But it went up dramatically, right, recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, good, that's great. Well, you know, we make it.
So do we have a plan then, at least? Maybe it can just be a small group conversation. You know, Bruce or, you know, just a small group to say, when do you want to transition over? And then have a conversation about what kinds of things do you want to put out regularly? You know, do you want any parameters? Nothing has to be hard and fast, but just have a little bit of an understanding of how you'll use that.
Yeah, well, let's have a group talk about it.
Yeah.
I think the sooner we do it, the better. I
So
think that
we
if
should
we
probably-
piggyback on the new website, you know, that's something
Yeah.
that we, the OVA, haven't really announced yet.
Yeah,
You know, so that's a good lead. Hey, check out our new website, you know, part of the Osterville Village website. We'd really be interested in seeing what's going on. Maybe we share that, hey, we're gonna do our memberships online from now on.
Can you recruit new members through the website? Can they add, would it have the capabilities of adding emails to the list?
Mhm.
with people's permission, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So we would, but we could certainly, on the OVA website itself, we could solicit.
Yes.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Like, we're just trying to get away from mailings. Oh, yeah, so it's possible. Even if we were able to have flyers, just some printed flyers somewhere, people could grab them, it's still be cheaper than sending it.
The new website, does somebody track how many visits we get?
I haven't gotten that far yet. I'm still.
Oh, sorry.
working on the membership. I haven't gotten that far yet. I'm still updating OVPA memberships right now. And adding to the calendar, just.
Still good.
and the nice thing about MailChimp. I have to think more about this, but you can see how many people have opened it. How many times it feels a little voyeuristic. You can actually see how many times they've opened it. It could be that somebody's like stuck in their pocket, keeps sitting open, but never know.
But you can't see who.
You
right?
can see everything.
You can?
Yeah, like who opened it. You can kind of see if somebody shared it, if somebody, it'll look like somebody opened it like 50 times, that person forwarded it, which is great, you can see the demographic of who opened it. So that could be interesting, right? If you get after a few cycles of sending a list of consistent non-openers, that's information you can think about how to be in touch with them or something. Or
Right.
have something out at the annual meeting that they can take on paper, So it does give you that good sort of demographic.
Because it also tells you who's not opening.
Right,
Yeah. And then if nobody's opening it, you have a bigger problem.
right.
So if we're gonna form a small group to look at this,
You're like, yeah.
I'll join.
Yeah.
So,
Let's do it.
and email subcommittee, whatever it's called.
I don't think we have to overthink it, we just.
Yeah. But
Have to
just
cut
some,
the board.
yeah, a little bit of input, just to kick around what you think is a good thing.
Yeah.
Do some stuff.
Okay, all right. So maybe it's just like, let's just have.
Has anyone not been on the new Osterville website yet? I mean, Cindy did an amazing job.
I went on it when it was first launched, but I must admit, I haven't gone on it the last month or two.
Yeah, it's extremely. Make a big difference.
Yeah.
Right, public comment. Maybe. We're all family here, right? I guess you need a haircut, is that what you're saying? Yeah, I got that. You write that down? Comment on.
If I could ask about. What was it, about 6 or 7 months ago, we had Griffin Bowden in here talking about East Bay Road, and has anything transpired from that in terms of planning or studies of making East Bay one way, or
Yeah, hopefully we shot that.
Right.
hopefully what?
Hopefully we shot that one way.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll just put a sidewalk up.
Yeah.
People drive.
Has it been a design form for the sidewalk yet?
There were some different things thrown around and presentation that
Yeah.
anyone who lives there was like,
Yeah.
it's not gonna work.
So essentially nothing's
Nothing, I don't think.
That's
anyone-
going on since
John
then.
might know, but
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything.
yeah.
Yeah, I stopped there. I mean, I've listened to that sidewalk dialogue for a couple of years now. You have to be careful what you're asking for
Right.
and what, and really what that means in reality. Because if the town is gonna do it, right, they have to meet certain standards and it's. I don't know. I understand why some people would want it in certain areas, but it's a consistent sidewalk all along these beds.
Well, we've talked about this before and Cindy remembers
Yeah.
this as well, but there was a sign.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember.
And
Yeah.
basically, who knows whether it was on private property or
Right.
the public right of way, but it was there.
Yeah.
So I don't know why, aside from there's being some tremendous trees that are grown up through it, and why you wouldn't, as a town, try to take back what belongs to the town anyway. Somewhere along there, and if people's stone walls are on public land or whatever, obviously they're gonna get upset about that, so it's really kind of a sticky thing, but. If it wasn't theirs to build on in the first place, then. There might be room there for the sidewalk already, maybe you have to go around some trees or whatever. I don't think anybody here is advocating taking down all those beautiful trees in this big road, but. There could be more space there, and we told the town that there used to be a sidewalk there, it's like, they weren't even aware. So. If you walk that road on the inland side, you can find traces of it.
Yeah,
if they were willing to.
When we
restore
were
it the
kids,
way-
we'd ride our bikes on it, so
Right.
Yeah.
If they were willing to restore it the way it was, but they had to adhere to like new standards, or that's what I would,
That's part of the issue, Stacy.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
we can't,
visually it wouldn't be quite as nice,
we can't conform to the new.
yeah, yeah.
We can find out.
When you get down to the town landing, what about a boardwalk that lines the shoreline right over to Dowses? Instead of impeding on those lawns and hedges that are there now. Just on the water side, just run along the edge of the road, do like a board.
Like to the right.
That's actually
Up there.
interesting, yeah.
I mean, you get into conversation. Land, I mean, you're gonna get those, yeah, you're gonna get those people all,
all worked up about that.
yeah. But I mean, if
They're only
right
good 3 weeks
right
out of
around
the
that
year.
corner, right to that landing, and you go in Dowses, big area right there.
Right next to the boats, some of that is privately owned. It's also like right next to the boat.
Yes,
Right
it
there.
is.
I forgot.
Some people
what
have
thing
their own
house-
steps.
House lines.
Yeah,
Anyway.
They don't,
well, I mean,
above the high water.
maybe they'd like that better than having a sidewalk right in front of their house,
Compromise, they can change.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we should try to find out from the town what's going on with that. At least how they're thinking, because. In one way, saying, I thought people get pretty worked up about the last meeting, so.
And this ties to the town budget too, right? And money is, like the last town council meeting was a big issue. The town was hitting financial wall over the years and projects. My takeaway was, forget all the extra little projects that people have in mind.
Yes, and I also know that there are folks in this room who really want to see that happen for safety reasons.
Yeah. I agree.
So, they're trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
A follow-up, with John on that, just a few words after, I think that'll. Any other, public comment? Seeing none, motion to adjourn. Second. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Yeah, nice to see people.
How are you?
Good, how are you? Nice to see you.
John,
It's usually-